Hey there, Steelers Nation! We're back with another exclusive update straight from the heart of Pittsburgh, where your team is working day and night to improve, build chemistry, and put a championship-caliber product on the field. Whether it's reshaping the quarterback room, hunting for wide receiver help, or locking in future Hall of Famers, your Steelers are not sitting still. So before we dive into a huge new prediction about Aaron Rodgers and the wide receiver situation that's heating up again, smash that like button to show your support for the black and gold, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe so you never miss the real inside scoop on your Pittsburgh Steelers. Let's get into it. All right, let's address the elephant in the room. Aaron Rodgers. The man has kept both the Steelers and the entire NFL world on the edge of its seat. But now, someone who knows Rodgers better than almost anyone else is dropping a major clue about what's next. Ian O'Connor, author of the 2024 book Out of the Darkness, The Mystery of Aaron Rodgers, just joined 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh and made a bold prediction. I still believe Aaron Rodgers will sign with the Steelers. Let that sink in. This isn't just a fan theory. This is someone who spent months inside the Rodgers circle, and he says all signs point to Pittsburgh. O'Connor mentioned he's talked to people close to Rodgers recently, and while he wouldn't repeat all the details publicly, here's what he did say. I don't think it would prevent him from playing football with the Steelers. I just think verbally, behind the scenes, not that he guaranteed it, but he's told the Steelers, listen, I'm going to play for you. Rodgers apparently doesn't want to join up and then miss part of minicamp due to personal issues, something that burned him with the Jets last year. O'Connor believes Rodgers wants to resolve those personal matters by the end of May so he can give Pittsburgh his full attention before mandatory minicamp begins June 10th. Now, some of D. You might be wondering, what's he waiting for? Well, we don't know all the details, but Rodgers has a history of complicated family relationships and deep personal introspection. According to O'Connor's book, Rodgers has recently begun to repair relationships with his family, which could be playing into this delay. But here's the key takeaway. Rodgers wants to be all in. He doesn't want distractions, and that's a good thing for the Steelers. If and when he signs, he'll be ready to go, fully focused, fully engaged, and all about winning. Now, assuming Rodgers does sign, and all signs say he will, the next major question becomes, what's Pittsburgh going to do to help him succeed? The quarterback is only as good as the weapons around him. And right now, the Steelers are dangerously thin at wide receiver. After trading for DK Metcalf earlier this offseason, fans breathed a sigh of relief. Finally, a WR1 with elite production and chemistry potential with Rodgers. But then, boom, George Pickens gets traded to the Cowboys for future draft picks. Suddenly, the WR room feels like it's back to square one. Steelers insider Ray Fittipaldo addressed this exact issue on 93.7 The Fan. According to Ray, Pittsburgh is very aware of the need for receiver help, but they're waiting for Rodgers to officially sign before making any big move. If Rodgers signs, you kind of go out and find somebody who's going to fit him, said Fittipaldo. You don't just want to sign the biggest name out there. You want the right fit. And here's the kicker. He specifically mentioned Allen Lazard as a potential target. Lazard has history with Rodgers in both Green Bay and New York. Their chemistry is proven, but Lazard's current status with the Jets is murky. If he becomes available, you can bet the Steelers will pick up the phone. It's not just Lazard, though. Fittipaldo also dropped names like Keenan Allen, aging but still productive Gabe Davis, dynamic but coming off an injury Amari Cooper, consistent, and polished. All of them could give Rodgers the veteran target he needs alongside Metcalf. So why the wait? Well, if Rodgers has verbally committed behind closed doors, the Steelers can afford to play it cool and line up the perfect WR move, tailored specifically for his preferences. But if there's still some uncertainty, they're not going to blow money or trade capital prematurely. Now, let's not forget, the Steelers do have some internal wildcards at wide receiver. Young talent that, if healthy and developed, could really surprise in 2025. Roman Wilson, for example. He barely saw the field in 2024 after a brutal string of injuries, from a sprained ankle in camp to a hamstring tweak late in the year. But the team still believes in his upside. Then there's Calvin Austin III, entering a contract year. He's improved every season and has the speed and versatility to contribute in a big way if used correctly. Still, relying on two question marks to carry your passing game alongside. Metcalf? That's a dangerous gamble, especially if you're trying to make a serious playoff run with Rodgers under center. So, Steelers Nation, here's where we stand. A respected Rodgers biographer believes Rodgers is coming to Pittsburgh, and that it's only a matter of time. The Steelers appear to have some kind of handshake deal with Rodgers. The front office is waiting for Rodgers to make it official before adding the final piece to the wide receiver room. Names like Lazard, Allen, Cooper, and Davis are all still in play, but only if Rodgers signs. Young WRs like Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin III still hold potential. But can they deliver when it matters? This team is building something deliberate, smart, strategic, but the last domino, Rodgers signing that contract, needs to fall. All right, folks, here's the headline you didn't see coming. Calvin Austin III might be next in line for a contract extension in Pittsburgh. Yeah, I said it. The speedster who came into the league a little under the radar and had to fight through injuries and depth chart politics is now making a serious case to stick around. The Steelers have been on a roller coaster at wide receiver over the past few years. First, they struggled to find consistent production. Then, it seemed like they finally turned the corner when they traded for DK Metcalf. But just as quickly, they flipped George Pickens to the Dallas Cowboys, leaving fans scratching their heads. With that move, the WR room thinned out fast. Now all eyes are on who's going to step up behind Metcalf. And guess what? Calvin Austin III is right in the mix, and he's not just holding a spot, he's earning it. Let's talk numbers because Calvin Austin has been on a solid upward climb. In DTI 2023, his stat line was quiet, just 17 catches for 180 yards and a single touchdown. But fast forward to 2024, and you've got 36 receptions, 548 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Not to mention, he returned a punt to the house on special teams. That's 2 phases of the game where he's actively making plays. And remember this. Kid missed his entire rookie season due to injury. That would have derailed a lot of players, but not Austin. He stayed locked in, kept grinding, and the results are starting to speak for themselves. He's not the biggest guy on the field, but man, his speed is electric. Every time he touches the ball, you hold your breath because there's a chance he's going to take it 50 yards in the blink of an eye. He's a playmaker, plain and simple, and the Steelers love those kinds of guys. Now let's dive into the business side of things. Calvin Austin is entering the final year of his rookie contract, set to make just over $1.2 million in 2025. After that, he's an unrestricted free agent heading into 2026, unless the Steelers get ahead of the curve and lock him up now. Historically, Pittsburgh handles extensions before week 1 of the regular season. Just look at Cam Hayward and Pat Freiermuth last year. They both inked deals right before kickoff. Once the games start, the Steelers shut down contract talks. So if something's going to happen with Austin, it's probably in the next few months. The early estimate? A 3-year deal worth around $14 to $15 million could be on the table. That would keep Austin in black and gold through the 2028 season, which seems like a smart investment based on what we've seen, and what could be coming if the Steelers don't add more WR help. But here's where things get interesting, Steelers. Fans, Austin's value totally depends on what the team does this offseason at wide receiver. If Pittsburgh goes out and signs a starting caliber WR, someone like Keenan Allen, Gabe Davis, or maybe even Allen Lazard if Rodgers signs, it could eat into Austin's targets. And let's not forget about Roman Wilson, last year's 3rd round pick who barely saw the field due to injury. The team's excited about his potential, and if he breaks out this year, that could also complicate Austin's future. Then there's the 2026 NFL Draft, where Pittsburgh holds 12 picks. You better believe they're going to use at least one or two of those on wideouts. The Steelers have always had a knack for drafting receivers on day 2 and turning them into stars. So from a front office perspective, they might feel confident that they can replace Austin if needed. But, and this is a big but, letting him hit free agency is a risky game. If he breaks out this year, the price tag is going up. His current market value sits around $5 million annually, but one more big season and that number jumps fast. Waiting could cost the Steelers more in the long run. Now it's your turn, Steelers fans. Do you believe Aaron Rodgers is coming to Pittsburgh? And if he does, who do you want lining up next to DK Metcalf? Would you go with a proven vet like Amari Cooper, take a flyer on the chemistry with Allen Lazard, or do you trust in the upside of Roman Wilson and Calvin Austin? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear from the entire nation on this one. And once again, if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe so you stay up to date on every move the Steelers make. This is your team, your quarterback, and maybe your year. Let's go, Pittsburgh.